Our next example demonstrates nested control statements. Now, basically, any place any one statement can be used in a program. You can have a control statement, and inside of any control statement, any one statement could be a nested control statement as well. Now, for this example, we have a single class named analysis, and basically we're going to analyze pass-fail grades on an exam for which 10 students took the exam, so we'll use counter-controlled repetition once again. Now, in this example, we've gone ahead and both declared and initialized the variables that we're going to be using to solve this little problem in lines 10, 11, and 12. So you can see that passes is declared to be an int and initialized to 0. Failures is declared to be an int and initialized to 1. Student counter is declared to be an int and also initialized to 1. Result is declared but not initialized, and that's because we're going to be immediately replacing its value before we use the value as we read in a value from the user. Now, in this example, we did not break down the example into two separate classes as we've been doing for many of the recent examples. Everything is just handled directly in the main method to demonstrate the nested control statements. So we're going to do a counter-controlled loop that counts starting with 1 as long as the student counter is less than or equal to 10. We will prompt for the user to enter a 1 to represent a passing grade or a 2 to represent a failing grade. And then we'll read that value in, and once again we are still assuming the user is going to enter that correctly. If the user types a non-integer value here or types a value that's not a 1 or a 2, then that could result in a logic error in the program. In terms of a non-integer value, that would cause an exception that would force the program to terminate. In terms of a non-1 or 2 value, as you'll see here, we're going to test the result value to see if it's equal to a 1, and if it is, we'll add 1 to passes. Otherwise, we'll assume the other value is a fail result, and we'll add 1 to failures. And of course, making that type of assumption in an industrial strength program is probably not a good idea because user input can be incorrect. So we would want to typically validate that information. So the nested control statement, the if-else statement within the while statement, demonstrates that you can place one control statement inside of another, just like in most of today's common programming languages. At line 29, we then increment our student counter, and we'll perform that 10 times. And then down here at line 33, we'll display the number of people who passed and the number of people who failed. And then finally, we'll use an if statement at line 36 to see whether more than 8 people passed, and if so, display the string bonus to instructor. So let's go ahead and just run this quickly to demonstrate the capabilities. So again, if you have more than 8 people pass, then we're going to see bonus to instructor. So let's have 9 people pass in this case. And you can see the string bonus to instructor displayed there. And let's run it one more time. And this time we'll have 5 passes. Whoops. Now there's an example of a failure value because it's not a 1 or a 2. It's the number 12 by accident there. So let's do one more pass, and we'll do 4 fail values. And you can see 5 passes and 5 fails because 12 was actually treated as a failure based on the logic in this program.